Some of the beatings that some of us have gotten as children seriously rival iron body training.
Where the kicks at? Where the hands? Where the holes? Where the throws? You know what I'm saying?
This is why I train in martial arts. Stories like this one make me want to start another toddler class, are probably a reason why I had a toddler class, even though there's nothing that would have saved a 3-year-old from this type of a murder.
Sisters in Atlanta, Georgia, are accused of beating a 3-year-old to death after he snuck a cupcake from the kitchen. Shirley and Glendria Morris were both indicted on felony murder charges over the death of Kwan Mason, the Atlanta Journal-Constitution reported.
In the flickering candlelight, a family huddles together, holding each other tightly, tears rolling down their faces for 3-year-old Kwan Mason.
Atlanta police found 3-year-old Kwan Mason dead at an apartment on Cleveland Avenue on Saturday, and Fox 5's Denise Dillon just spoke with police. Denise, why are they no longer calling this an accident?
Well, because the Fulton County medical examiner just released the cause of death and says that little 3-year-old boy died from blunt force trauma. Now, police say initially they were told that the child had choked on a cupcake. But then the Fulton County medical examiner released the official cause of death yesterday.
They informed us on yesterday's date that the cause of death and manner of death would be blunt force trauma. Based on that, we are conducting a criminal investigation, and we've involved our Special Victims Unit and the Department of Family and Children's Services.
Everyone called him King.
He was just a baby. He was so sweet, loving, caring.
King and his twin brother Kerry were living in this home on Cleveland Avenue with a woman who had temporary custody of them.
We want justice. We're not going to go to sleep on this. We're not going to sleep. And the detective came to the house today and said he had blunt force trauma to the head. He had bruises on his body.
Geraldine Mason says she had lost custody of her children because she didn't have a place to stay. But she was working hard to get custody back. Now it's too late.
I went to them Monday and I had to tell them, like, now my child gone.
And it's really sad. It's sad because the 3-year-old didn't ask for this.
1, 2, 3 again. Long live King. 1, 2, 3 again. Long live King.
Can someone please tell me what technique could possibly help a 3-year-old against 2 grown women who are trying to murder him? The only thing I could think of would be a gun. The 3-year-old would have to have a gun. And there have been cases reported on the news where 3-year-olds have shot people. Why in the world do we allow stuff like this to happen to children? If you're wondering why I've ran toddler classes, well, I might run one again. And why people would even dream of putting a 3-year-old child into a martial arts class, it's most likely because of stuff like this. I know I had, I got classes, I got people who enrolled their kids in class. There'd be a spike after some stuff would come on the internet, like that thing where there was that 3-year-old boy, 3-year-old, 4-year-old who was cussing in a diaper and walking around like this. People take their kids to daycare. The children get attacked by other children in daycare. People have their children out of the neighborhood. Their kids get assaulted by other children in the neighborhood. Sometimes, like one kid that assaulted my son, 20 years ago, with a box cutter? A box cutter. One toddler came after another toddler with a box cutter. The only reason why my son's face isn't slashed up is because I started training him ever since he could walk. See, we have got to do a better job of protecting children. Now, I'm not going to go off into the politics and all this other stuff about, not having any dads around and things like that. But I'm telling you, what if you know of a technique that would have saved a 3-year-old from being murdered by 2 grown women, please put it in the comment section below. This story is just extremely depressing. It's very disgusting, but it just shows how much we need to have the weak defended from the predators out there. Again, this is something that I don't think martial arts can necessarily solve. But I understand why somebody might be desperate enough to try to put their child into a class because they think that they can't protect their child all the time. They can't be around their child all the time. Maybe the child could protect himself. But I'm telling you now, it's really unreasonable to expect a 3-year-old to protect himself from adults, or even, for that matter, from other children. Now, if my loyal, faithful followers pretty much already know this, but this is something that has to be said for the uninitiated out there. The only person that's going to protect your child from anything until that child is at least 7 years old, in my opinion, is YOU. And I hope they put those 2 women who beat a 3-year-old child to death over a cupcake, I hope they put them under the jail. Peace. Some of the beatings that some of us have gotten as children seriously rival iron body training.